I've been following you for quite some times. This is the tour and the record I discovered Zeal Ardor with. And for me was very much a blast because it was so much things going on in this album and in your music. You just start with a new album and today you are here for a concert with us.
Yeah.
So let's try to move toward the new album with your previous work because your band it's very developing all the time and you always have new ideas. So you started with Devil is Fine, that was your first LP, and you already had this very big mix of South American inspired jazz music and metal. And I think you said during an interview that was, what if slave music was about Satan instead of God?
Yeah, exactly.
So how did it develop in that album?
Well, I just thought these two genres matched together really well. And like for the Norwegian black metal, it was also to rebel against Christianity and to return to paganism, but by extension, they just used Satan. And I think that was a good thought experiment. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's also come from your previous experience. You were in a band called Birdmask, and you were, really releasing some of the anger and some of these unpopular opinions. So was still already quite there, the attitude.
Yeah.
And then we come to Stranger Fruit. We are also the Stranger Fruit, which for me was very interesting because it take a bit of the roughness of Billie Holiday and this very talking the harsh thing as they are without too much sugar coating.
Exactly, yeah.
What was for you the experience to move from Devil's Fine, so something more metal, to something so contaminated?
Well, after Devil is Fine, I felt like I have to prove myself because like there was a little bit of a hype, like okay, fun, but can you really deliver on an album? So I felt very, very motivated to record properly and write some proper songs, and that's what came out. It was a lot of work, and I think it looks pretty. So yeah,
it looks very pretty. I mean, it's a double LP. It's quite a long. Number, it's quite a large number of songs, very different. There are some fillers, but there are not so many. So you really put a lot of writing inside this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just the music evolving. I think what is very interesting, what happened next, at least for my eyes, when you come out with Wake of Nation, was a different time because we had the Black Lives Matters and the police violence, and you felt very angry in that record. And also in the next one, Zeal Ardor, self-titled, there was a strong anger. When I saw you playing at Copenhagen for that tour, it was very interesting for me to see how you were on the stage compared to the previous concert.
Yeah.
So how did it touch and how this period went for you?
Well, yeah, I was really worried about my family in the US at the time because, they were black and with the whole George Floyd thing. So I kind of had to write that album or the EP and then the album. And for me on stage, it's twofold. Like on one side, I feel like I have to be angry because I am angry because of the songs. But at the other point, I'm really happy because people are there to enjoy the music. So it goes from to hey, thank you.
It's also a ritual. You get the energy of the people and you feel like participating. So there's this ambivalence, right, in metal especially.
Yeah, the duality of it.
But I feel like the new album is very much a turning point. You make your music much more melodic and less angry. Maybe a bit more intimate or a little bit more introspective in the new album.
Yeah.
So is this energy or this anger that quiet down a bit or it just transformed in something else? And why Greif?
Well, it's I wouldn't say the anger is gone, but it's also we have to play these songs all the time.
Yeah.
And I think when you meet us, we're not angry people. we're actually quite fun-loving
Yeah.
and outgoing people to a certain degree, and it's just another side of us. And well, it just felt appropriate to not become our own cover band and to explore new avenues and maybe new moods and colors, I guess.
Absolutely. And of course, anger is very important, but it's also okay, as you say, not to just put a mask on, but be truthful with a larger spectrum of feelings,
Precisely.
especially in metal when sometimes there's not much space.
Yeah.
Is there some songs in the new album that you feel like really portrayed this discourse or that you had particular fun?
Yeah, I think Sugarcoat is a really fun one where it's, or
You can see the track if you need.
or Thrill is another one. I should know this.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
okay, you know, it's an interview, so you're talking. It's very easy to forget things. That's why I always have notes.
Gotcha. No, I think, I guess Solace is a special one because, like, there's specific emotions we haven't really tried or allowed ourselves to show with Zeal Ardor, and I think one of them is just happiness or excitedness, and I think Thrill is a good example where it's not a didactic situation of it's like us against them. It's this whole album is me and you. It's far more specific and
Yeah, it's more connecting as people and maybe a bit more detached from the more global or
Yeah,
social
yeah.
landscape.
Which doesn't mean that we're never going to do that again. It's maybe this is like a spin-off series. You know, we don't know, but because in writing this album, I tried to make a classic Zealand Ardor songs,
Right.
and they were okay. But I think if you were to listen to them, you would be like, okay, you know, you could tell that my heart wasn't in it.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a very bad idea to present that.
Solans, for example, that was a song that at the first listening really hit me. You never play so slow. And I feel like it came out very well in that sense because it really shines as something personal, as something you don't need necessarily to scream, but you can just give out a very strong message in a simple way, let's say, or in a melodic way.
Yeah.
Did you had a bit of fear, like if I put this song in this album, my fans will expect something different, maybe, or?
No, but I'm aware that this isn't what people expected from us. But also, we're in this weird situation where people expect to be surprised by us. So, which is a huge luxury as a creative person. And if we did not use it, we would be idiots.
Of course.
So it might be, you know, for some people, not their album, not their favorite album of ours. But for me, right now, this is my favorite album.
Well,
And that speaks volumes.
I think it's also great, and as I say, it's not only what you like, that's very important, but when you are an artist, also to be able to portray it and to follow your path. There is another element that for me was very pivotal in Stranger Fruit, which was that in some way there was a lot of talking and lyrics about roots and about being someone who have the roots somewhere and maybe somewhere else, or a society that doesn't respect your personal roots. In this new album, I don't feel it anymore.
No.
Did you find your place, or you have been able to create a space in your place to accommodate also who you feel you are?
No, I think I still very much have the same thoughts, but it would be regressive to express the same thoughts over and over again.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't feel appropriate to have these thoughts on this record with that music. And it's just a whole new, I don't know, new side, I think.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. I mean, I'm also an expat. I'm Italian, but I live here in Denmark, and it was maybe easy for me to pick up, you know, so much this idea of, you know, be someone in a different place, and reconciling also in a certain point and admit who you are. You bring your baggage, but you're also part of your environment.
Yeah, yeah. So it's weird because I think you as an expat might have experienced this, where you have this intrinsic need to please the public or the status quo, and I think with time you realize, no, wait, actually, that person already exists, Yeah, I'm far more valuable by just being myself in this new space.
Exactly. You have to fit the plot, but at the same time, you also recognize your diversity or your
exactly.
or who you are, and that's more for every person. You're from Switzerland, and Switzerland is a very multinational, let's say, place because the Swiss national, let's say, pride is much more composite than most of the other country, right?
Yeah, it's quite. I mean, it's not. I mean, if you go to Germany or France, it's pretty much the same. But I think Switzerland just economically is very attractive to people coming there because it's a rich as fuck country. So, yeah.
Yeah, of course, but you know that also means that you have many nationality living in the same ground.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing. Is there a song that when you sing live give you a special emotion, or that the first time you played live, you felt something that you were exposing yourself personally? Not necessarily the new one, but in general in your discography.
I think everyone to a certain degree, and I think if I didn't feel that with the song, it's not a good song.
That's also a very good point. When you were in Broadmask, you were very strong with your lyrics. You were very direct, and you seem also to be challenging a bit. That's also something you brought to Zeal Ardor, especially in the first period, and now it's transforming. How do you felt over your personal path as an artist? I know it's a difficult question, but I do that.
No, I know what you mean. I think it's healthy not to be too retrospective or too concerned with what I have done. Of course, it's nice to review, but I just like the fact that it's not stagnant, but it's a dynamic thing. And the moment that I feel like, oh, I've arrived, it's probably the moment I should stop making music.
Yeah, good thing in life, we all change all the time, so it's always good to find something to follow, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's also bring to motivation. Of course, your motivation earlier on in your career was to do something maybe disruptive, maybe provocative, maybe very metal. But now you are also maybe in a different time in your life, and maybe you have also a different wish to send a message to your crowd or to the people who became your listeners or the people coming to your concert.
I guess to a certain degree, but I also don't think that I'm in a pedagogical situation. Like people don't come to me or shouldn't come to me for advice. Because in essence, what I do is air decoration, and that doesn't qualify me to.
What you do?
Huh? Music is just decoration in airwaves, so that doesn't qualify me to have a. I mean, I try to have a good message, but it would not be very wise to listen to me most of the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I cover a lot of underground, and I feel like my art stay more in the underground. And what you see the underground scene. Many of those artists, they always start because they want just to speak out their mind on a channel. But then as they progress, they start to feel like that, I mean, they're not the messiah, but at least that there is people sharing with them some empathy and sharing with them some value.
Yes.
And then they may orient themselves toward that.
But the problem is, I don't have, like, who watches the spokesperson? I don't have... If I were to have that mindset, no one will tell me that I'm wrong, because by default, my perception of myself would be, well, I'm explaining to people. Right. And I think that's a very, very dangerous situation.
Well, it's like a painter. You depict something that will send some type of message that people will interpret in your liking or not.
Exactly. And also, no one will ever have the same meaning to a song that I intended. That's no way, because that's also the beauty of art, that there's different perspectives to it. So unless I'm very, very specific and very, very unpoetic, there's no way that I could have a competent pedagogical meaning or influence on people.
And that's fine. I mean, it's entertainment, it's art, is.
I mean, I try to.
It's decoration, as you call it.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I have my values and I share them in my lyrics, but I wouldn't say that. I would say that my audience should be wary of that. Read a book. There's better books than I can sing.
One book we should read.
Wait, it's The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity by David Graeber and David Wengrow.
You have been doing angry music, introspective music, protest music also in many ways for many years. How did music change your life, or what it gave you music as your personal outlet? So beside of what people think or what people receive.
Well, it's a very therapeutic thing for me. It's a catharsis.
Right.
So I can have the worst day of my life, but then I can write about it, and it's just expelled from me. And that is a huge, huge gift or huge privilege to be able to do that. And I'm very aware of that. And I can't replace it with anything.
No.
It's the most insane drug. Yeah.
And it's a passion, right? Mm-hmm. The same reason why people need to express themselves. And what is the type of feeling that was more hard for you, at least when you start to do music, that you really want to utter because you felt like you couldn't communicate, or it was not easy for you to communicate as a person?
I think as a teenager it's typical, you know, it's like an angry boy who doesn't want to talk to the parents or whatever, and then you go into your room and I think that's how it started.
Yeah.
And then I figured, there's more nuances to this. And then I listened to music. Wait, you can do that? And you know, all the weird emotions we can convey with music, and there's two sides to it. One is, you know, the emotional thing of it, and the other one is the time traveling aspect.
The time traveling.
Yeah.
So you wanted to sample also from.
I don't mean that. I think, for instance, you know exactly when your favorite song. You know when the first time you listen to it, probably.
Yeah.
And when you listen to it, you feel transported back to that time. If that isn't magic, I don't know what is.
Absolutely, exactly. It's the feeling that give you every time, and maybe you are in that specific day, you listen the same song and give you a different taste.
Yeah, exactly. And that's incredible.
Is there a song, not yours, but of someone else, that really mesmerized you in a special moment of your life, or that you felt very much attached?
There's tons, I think.
Yeah, of course, everybody has his history. Well, Strange Fruit.
I think Retro Vertigo from Mr. Bungle.
Retro Vertigo from Mr. Bungle.
Yeah, that's one of my absolute favorite songs. And the first time I heard it, I was mind blown. And Roads from Portishead, of course. And so many. I think L'Histoire du Soldat from Stravinsky. The first time I heard it was insane. It sounds like a trap. It's like drums before drums were invented.
Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah. But so many.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know it's impossible to answer. It's like your favorite song. No one has a favorite song. It depends on where you are in your time. But that's actually a very nice thing. And I mean, you also cited three very different, very, how can I say, eclectic songs. Mm-hmm. Because Mr. Bungle, you also do a lot of the mixing game, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And it's shine in your music that you really like Contamination.
That is very true. Yeah.
Did any of your songs started with just one sound, or just one unexpected idea, and develop through that, and you feel like, did I do a song on that?
Tons. It happens all the time. I think The Devil Is Fine happened like that, where it had this chant and then I built around it. And 100% of the time when I sit down to write a song, it is always different than what I thought I might create. Yeah. And that's the aleatoric beauty of it, where you don't really know what's going to happen, and there's this randomness to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like this. You don't know what is happening, and then until it happens. Right?
Exactly.
There is a controversial theme that might be understood in your music, which is about Satanism, let's say like that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to dwell into religion or things. I don't care about that. I'm not religious anyway. But it's very easy to imagine that your song are just a metal song based on Scandinavian, pagan, whatever. But I feel like you also develop the thematic in a more deep way for some of your songs, especially when it comes to cross that idea with slave songs, so something socially impacting and that means a lot to people.
Yeah.
How was your initial idea? What was your catch about that? Not necessarily Satanism, but the idea of portraying, you know, the cult of an alternative god, or getting out from the more Christian. I don't know if you're Catholic or Protestant, but you know, as a uprising.
Yeah. Well, I think the prime aspect was that of rebellion, that of a contrarian stance to the status quo. And then I just kind of delved deeper into what that might mean. And it's easy to say, oh, Satan, blah, blah, blah.
There you go.
But-
I mean, that's very common in metal, and sometimes it just felt like something that people say.
But if you listen, if you read up on grimoire, you know, old books on occultism, there's a huge aspect of freeing yourself. Of course, there's spells of how you can, you know, get demons or get money or whatever the fuck. But a large aspect of it is actually from freeing yourself, because these books were mainly written by priests who would have black masses in the night. So by day they would preach Jesus Christ, and at night they had these secret gatherings where they would practice black magic. And that aspect of rebellion and community is so intriguing to me. Yeah.
Yeah, because let's not forget that back in time, people who wrote, there were people educated, so people that were exposed to religion, because religious people were the most writers. So
Exactly.
it was all people that have to live in the society or that type of society and rebel to that. And it came a lot with a lot of freedom movement. I mean, it's like explaining your society that you are not aligned or have to hide yourself or some part of yourself and take a stance for freedom. I mean, I don't want to go to sexism, or I don't want to build too much on that. But it's a bit the path that all the people that are not aligned, because queer, because alternative, because unaccepted by society have to do to free themselves or destroy and then rebuild their own life.
Yeah.
And of course, adolescents, when we're a teenager, we do that all the time, and you are doing in a way.
I think in a way that everyone did, in a different way, I guess, a different method. But I think the essence of it is the same. Humans always have this urge for rebellion, and I think that's valid through any time since. Yeah.
Yeah, and that means you born in with society, which is still a society that look quite at the appearance, traditionally at least, and you live for the ages where Swiss society evolved a lot. So today they are very free, but there is still the countryside, there is still part of the population that is not like in the city, let's say like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's a huge way to go still.
I think maybe should I leave you for the concert, but I would like to give you the word because this is your interview. So if there's something you like to share or something I didn't ask you, and you feel like it could be important to describe your last work or your current inspiration, we would love to listen to that.
Just be strange.
Be strange.
Be strange. Do not be too worried about what other people think, because even if you do the best thing in their eyes, there's going to be other people who won't like it. So you can just be yourself.
Yeah.
And it's more interesting for us all.
And I mean, all the people have his weirdness, have his quirk, and it's nice to don't feel alone in the people we are, but feel embraced and feel respected.
Precisely.
You know, as individual, right?
Yeah.
Which also comes. Oh, don't worry. Which also comes a lot with being, not accepted, but also being able to talk about that freely and openly to people that are there to listen to you.
Because outsiders have the best view.
Thank you so much, Manuel.
Thank you.